Changes are so hard for us to make as people. Have you ever tried to make necessary changes in your life, or maybe just in your what you're doing, or changes in your scheduling, or just simple changes that you needed to make, and you found it was very difficult to stick with those simple changes? Well, this is so normal. And there's an actual simple step I'm going to share with you today, because when you can make simple changes in your habits, in your lifestyle, it's going to be as simple as 1% at a time. So look at what you are doing first and look at what you're not doing. I'm always going to say this because it's always the fact. And when you have habits, which we all have a bunch of them, they're like coming out of the woodwork. And you have to determine what habits are actually hurting you and what habits are actually benefiting you. So regardless if you have an actual job where you go, I say actual because a lot of the people I speak with are working online. So that's not the customary brick and mortar job where you go to the place. You just go downstairs to your office or wherever your office is at in your home. So there's big changes for that too. And look at what you're doing. Look at the system you have set up for yourself, okay? Because I'm talking about 1%. 1% of what you're doing, one habit, 1%. And you can change simple things about maybe it's a good habit, you just need to tweak it a little bit. Maybe it's a bad habit and you need to let it go completely. Just depends on what it is that's holding you back or what is getting in the way. And it is so simple to look at these things when you actually put it into force. One thing you can do is write out a schedule. Write out, different things you need to do each day and have a plan on executing each thing. I know most of you who are on my team know I have a calendar and I have different times that I do different things, and pardon me. And also, I have different times and different days that I have scheduled to talk to people. And a lot of you get on my calendar and you have a certain time or whatever. Well, that is something on my part where when I first started working online and I first started the coaching, I had to work myself around learning how to do this to where it was going to benefit everybody, so I could have time pockets for everybody to get in that I needed to get in. So I had certain days. So that was a 1% change that I had to make, that I had to make for myself to get out of the habit of just blanket scheduling everything and then putting it on my calendar and hopefully I would make it. That didn't work so well. So I had to make sure I had certain times set up during the week to do certain things. This way, I can do all my video for marketing. I can do my content for marketing. I can do whatever I need to do, training I need to do for people. I can do my coaching calls. I can do all this by having it pocketed out. So if you're in that position and you're working on getting everything pocketed out and you're working on making simple adjustments to your habits, then you can do it 1% at a time. And that's just little tiny steps. And when you do this, it will turn into a big benefit. And there will be a big difference in how things are working for you. I know sometimes it's really hard to get in there and schedule everything and make it all happen and make it all come together because there's only so many hours in the day. And we have time zones and everything else in play for that. So that's a lot for if you're working online, if you're working, from home. So then if you're working to a job, then that's a whole different ballpark in that respect altogether. And that's being, you have to get up, you have to go to work, you have to, be present. You have, maybe if you're a manager or you're a supervisor, that type of person, then you have a lot of responsibilities that you have to take and you have to do. And you have to be on top of your game every single day. So if you are in that position where, you're a supervisor, that type of position, then you know how important it is to have a schedule, adhere to the schedule, and to tweak it as needed. Depending on what your job is, it could be, consistent, or it could change every day. It just depends on what is on your plate and what you need to do. But these are simple little 1% habit tweaks that can change your lifestyle and change how you're working. And not just that, when you change your things that are in the way of what you're doing, they're in the way of you being consistently productive, being consistently on target, or being whatever you want to do. You want to be consistently doing it right. Don't be consistently doing it wrong, okay? Because that's not good. I don't want anyone to get in there. But it takes a commitment. It takes a commitment on your part to make the necessary changes that you need to make. Even if it's in your marketing, even if it's in building your team, or if it's in building money to come into your lifestyle. It all takes commitment, and it takes you being consistent on what you're doing every single day. And everyone has the challenges, and we all do. We have these habits, we have these different things that make a difference in our lives. A lot of us get in a rut and we don't realize how it happened or where it came from, but we just get down, we're just not happy. Maybe things change in our life, and then we end up not being performing at our job. And this is a job where you go to. So you're not performing in your job. And I'm going to tell you a story. Here's a story that was from several years back. And I had a manager in a store. He was a store manager. And he was a good manager. I mean, he was really good, top of his game. He was just, excellent. I never had to worry about that store at all. And then one day I noticed that I was getting different reports from different people, with different signatures on it and different, responses from different things I put out that weren't normal. So I paid a visit to that store, and in talking to the rest of this team, the managers under him, I realized he was missing a lot of work. Because normally when you are out, you call into HR or to your supervisor. Well, in this respect, he called out to his second in command, his second person. And what happened was he kept missing a lot. So when I looked at how many days he was missing, it was a lot within like a 2-month period. It was a lot of time. So I got with him and, find out what the problem is, if something I can do to help, or what, whatever I could do. Well, he had changed, his lifestyle had changed, and he had different things going on in his life. And I just let him know that, I'm sorry about that. I can't do anything about that for you, but I need you to be on board, and I need you to do your job here. And I need you to show up for work. Because if you don't show up for work, I'm going to, have to take other measures, that type of thing. Well, this went on for about 4 months. And what happened was, of course, there was paperwork involved and there was different conversations involved. But what happened was, this good employee, this really top-notch manager, I had to end up letting him go. I don't like having to terminate people, but he wasn't doing his job. And it was putting a strain on everybody else. When a supervisor doesn't do their job and they're not up there and they're not being focused, it puts a hindrance on the rest of the team. So I'm just giving you this story because maybe you'll resonate with it. Maybe you'll see, maybe you have other people in your life, in your business, that are not doing what they need to be doing, and it's putting a hindrance on everything else. So like I said, I had to let him go and place another person in that position because the store has to run. It has to have supervision. It has to have management. So in doing this, I decided at that time I was going to learn more about the 1% because I'd heard about it. And then I decided, you know what, maybe I can do something better going forward with more people if I can train them and teach them how to change some habits if they're bad. It took some time to learn everything I needed to learn. But when I did, I was able to show and to teach that if you change 1% of a habit, 1% of you're not getting this done or you're not doing this or this habit is holding you back, when you change your life environment or your work environment and the two don't come together and they don't mesh together and one is over here and one is over here, you're going to have fallout. You're going to have it fall out. Something is going to give. And normally it's the job that gives. Even though that's the money you need to take care of the family, it's the money you need for everything else, but that seems to be the one that ends up giving. Because you end up getting, let's see, what's depressed and, everything else goes on, or you're overwhelmed, or whatever the situation might be. So what I'm saying is 1% change, 1% is a huge change. It's little tiny, but when you're changing a lifestyle, you're changing a habit, 1% is what it takes to make a change and to make it flow easy. And like I said, when I learned how to do this, I started teaching my managers. I started teaching people, that was working with me, how to do this, how to change 1% of a habit, how to change 1% to make their life simpler. Without getting involved in their personal lives, I focus mainly on their work life because it's a different life when you're working that. Even if you're working at home and you're doing the home business, even if you're doing that, there's going to become times when you need to look at the habits you have. Maybe you can get up 30 minutes earlier and get more stuff done by your meditation. Meditation clears your mind and opens you up for a whole new day. So when you do this and you make these simple little tweaks, simple little changes in whatever you're doing, I've seen so much response come back. When people learn, it's just a simple little tweak. I just need to change this habit, or I need to get rid of that habit altogether and replace it with a new one that works. Simple, right? I believe life is simple if you make it simple. You can make it hard if you want to. I prefer not to. I don't like a hard life. I like it simple. Like I said, anything I can take apart and make it little steps, I will do that because that's the way it should be. So whatever you have a habit in doing, if it's not working out, if it's not benefiting you and your workplace and your family, they have to come together. If you're working at home, you know what I mean by this because you've probably got kids running in and out, you've got a spouse running in and out, you're trying to get everything done. Take a deep breath. Breathing will always clear the mind and the aura and everything. Breathing will clear your whole funnel. It'll clear it all out just by deep breathing. Makes you relax, makes things happier. But look at your habits. And I suggest writing them down. I do. When I have a habit come up that's holding me back, that's stopping me from doing what I want, oh my gosh, I get very in tune to why am I doing that? Why am I doing that now? Where did that come from? I haven't done that for years. Why am I doing that? Write that one down, definitely, because you're going to have it come back again and again. So the more you can get rid of it or eliminate it or just change it 1%, you'll be surprised what changing something 1% will do for your life. Change your habit 1%, change maybe what you're doing in your lifestyle 1%, maybe change your schedule around. Whatever you're doing, it doesn't have to be catastrophic. It doesn't have to be huge. It can be little. It can be simple little steps. 1%. It's all it takes to make a huge difference in your lifestyle. Okay? I look forward to hearing any comments that you're having with this, and I'd like to hear your successes because I know a lot of you out there are going to do this and you're going to tackle it, and it's going to work so great. It takes a commitment. Anytime you're making a change in your life, in what you're doing, it takes a commitment on your part to do that. So be committed today, definitely, to change your lifestyle, to change your world, to change everything about it. Okay? This is a golden opportunity, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. I am grateful for your time. Thank you. And I know time is so important because we all have just not enough time in our world, right? So definitely please subscribe to our YouTube channel here and ring that dinger bell down at the bottom. I also put a training up here for you for your for marketing on social media to help you get sales, making it simple. It has to be simple. Okay. Thank you so much.